Hello and welcome to my channel Tummy Bliss. My name is Michaela and I am passionate about two things. One of them is good food, the other one is well-being. So in the recipes that you will find here, you will see that I always do my best to combine these two passions, or I bring forward recipes that are anti-inflammatory and that contribute to the well-being of my body. With this said, what's for dinner today? What I'm going to make is a spin-off of the traditional Japanese dish Gyu-don, which is basically a thinly sliced beef that has been simmered in a combination of soy sauce and sweet sake, mirin in Japanese, and is also seasoned with spring onions or ordinary onions, whatever you have. Both of them are delicious. But since I always want to make my recipes more nutritious, what I am going to do today is, to my thinly sliced beef, apart from the green onions that I'm going to use, I'm also going to add mushrooms. In this case, I am using Japanese shimeji mushrooms. However, if you don't have this kind of mushrooms, you can use any, Asian mushrooms. I've seen that there are sets that are sold in the shops in the US, or simply shiitake mushrooms. That would be just lovely. And also I am going to use what we call in Japanese ito konnyaku, or string konnyaku, or the Miracle Noodles, as this. Well, they're not real noodles, they're konnyaku noodles, are known in the US. This I'm going to saute first in sesame oil, and once everything has been cooked, I am going to sprinkle it for color and more flavor with thinly sliced spring onions, and also sprinkle some sesame seeds on top. So let's get started. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to heat about 1 tablespoon of sesame oil in a deeper pan. The reason why I'm using a deeper pan is because I don't want, there to be a lot of oil just flying all over the place when I saute the beef and the vegetables. So over medium-high, I will add 1 tablespoon of sesame oil. It is a high temperature oil. And once the oil is warm enough, I will add the thinly sliced beef. So beef like this you can get usually in Asian stores, but if you don't have an Asian store near your home, just use any tender beef. I have done a similar dish in the US using a skirt steak that we sliced thinly. So you can do that without any problems at all. How the meat looks like doesn't matter at all. As long as it is tender and not tough, you would get great results. I will place the beef in the pan in the heated oil, and I will saute it briefly or until it begins to change its color. I will show you what it needs to look like. And while the beef is being sauteed, I am going to chop my green onions. Again, if you don't have green onions, do not worry at all. Just use ordinary onions and thinly slice them. Please wash the green onions. Let me just remove this so you can see better. And then slice them. Let me just show you how thick the pieces should be. This is probably about 1 centimeter or 1/2 of an inch, a little bit less than 1/2 of an inch. Just make sure that the slices are not too thin, because then once you start simmering the green onions, what will happen, they will shrink and disappear. So it would be nice to actually have, you know, a little bite as opposed to disappearing onions. Now the next one, I am not going to use the green part because the green part is very often kind of tough. So I will just take as much as I can from the green onions and let the rest go. So again, let me just stir the beef. I will show you in a moment what it looks like. So here it is. As you can see, the beef has changed its color, and this is about how cooked I want it to be. Once the beef has been cooked, let's add to the pan the green onions, and again stir the onions and the beef a little. Probably decrease the fire so it is more like medium low than medium high. And while the onions and the beef are still cooking, I'm going to clean the mushrooms, cut them and add them as well. In case of the shimeji mushrooms, what you need to do is, just separate the mushrooms from each other. If you're using shiitake, then of course you will have to slice them. Not too thinly, because again, you want to have some texture. You don't want the mushrooms to get lost in the rest of the dish. This dish is very meat-based traditionally, so there's basically just beef and onions. However, again, I don't want us to eat too much meat. That's definitely not a very good idea because meat can be inflammatory. So I would like to kind of feel the meal not with meat but with mushrooms. So as you can see, I am using quite a lot of them. Make sure that you stir from time to time so the mushrooms will be cooked evenly too. And while the vegetables are getting ready, it's time to get our Miracle Noodles ready too. I would suggest, like the Miracle Noodles, they are usually without any flavor and without any smell to them. If you're using Konnyaku noodles that you got from an Asian store, or in Japan if you're using Shirataki, then make sure that you wash them well, because usually there's this very pungent smell that comes with them. And what you may notice also is that my Shirataki, my Miracle Noodles, are brown, while the ones that you usually get in the store, they're completely white. And that's fine. I chose these because they are made from the real Konnyaku root, as opposed to being made from a powder, and thus they have more color. I just have the idea that these are healthier, which may or may not be true at all, because the Konnyaku, it does not really have any calories. It's mostly fiber, so what happens is it just goes through your digestive system and sort of flushes it out, cleans it. For that reason, konnyaku is extremely beneficial. And here they are. And I'm going to add them to the rest of the dish. And again, stir it so the konnyaku can mix up with the rest of the ingredients and absorb their flavor. All right, so now it's time to prepare the simmering sauce for our dish. Traditionally, the Gyu-don, or this, dish that we are making right now, is made with a sauce that is a combination of soy sauce and mirin, sweet sake. Unfortunately, the mirin is very high in sugar, so it's a no. The soy sauce, some people say that it's very high in lectins, which is not necessarily beneficial to your digestive system. It's also very high in sodium. So what I use instead is organic coconut aminos. And both my Japanese husband and I, we have found that the taste that the coconut aminos have is very close to this mixture of soy sauce and mirin, and they're healthier, they have low glycemic index, and just a wonderful flavor. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use, let me just see, about 75 cc of coconut aminos, and to that I will add probably about 50 cc of water. There you go. So I am going to pour this on the meat and the veggies and stir and increase the heat. So now it's medium high as opposed to the medium low that it was. And I will let everything simmer for about 5 minutes. You don't need to cook it more. So just make sure to stir it from time to time so that all the ingredients can have enough of the sauce and can be cooked well, and let it cook for 5 minutes. And while everything is being cooked, I'm going to slice thinly the spring onions, and those, as I said, are going to be used for decoration and to add some fresh flavor to the finished dish. And now it's time to serve. So you have the option, you can either serve in individual bowls or plates, or you can do what I will do here right now. I'm just going to put everything in one big bowl and then add either chopsticks or tongs so people can serve themselves as much as they want. This is how we do it traditionally at home, but it's really up to you. Whatever works the best for you. And once I have placed my healthy Gyu-don, I would say, in the bowl. Oh wow, it's so steamy. I'm just going to sprinkle some fresh spring onions on top. This will add color to the dish and also flavor. And lastly, I'm going to also sprinkle some sesame seeds. The sesame seeds are completely optional. It just looks nicer, and also they add texture to the dish. Well, itadakimasu, as we say in Japanese. All right, so now it is time to sample my creation, and I'll just have a tiny bite of beef. Let me see. Yum. It's really, really good because it is, of course, salty, but there is also sweetness that comes from the coconut aminos. It's simply delicious. Thank you for joining me in making dinner today. I always love having company, even if I do not know who you are or where you are. It's always more fun to do it with someone than by myself. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like on YouTube, and if you would like to receive information when new videos are being posted on my channel, which usually is once a week, consider subscribing to Tummy Bliss Cooking with Michaela. You can find the full recipe for this healthy Gyu-don with mushrooms and green onions in the description to the video, but I'm also going to post the recipe on my Facebook page, Tummy Bliss. Again, thank you for joining me today, and see you in our next cooking adventure. Goodbye.